Hello everyone. So some of you in class asked me to do number 43 on page 597. So on page 597, the instruction says the graph of each equation is to be translated 3 units right and 5 units up. Write each new equation. Okay? So we have this equation here. We have to translate it. But before we do, we have to put it in standard form first. So we have 4 choices to choose from: parabola, ellipse, circle, and hyperbola. Notice that this is x squared and this is y squared. They're both squared. So we know parabola is not going to be a choice here. So it's going to be one of the other 3. So our strategy right now is to be able to first complete the square and put them into standard form and then translate it. So let's do that. So we have ellipse, circle, and hyperbola. And notice that for all of them, we have an x and y on the same side of the equation and the number on the other side. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put the variables on one side and the number on the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 64y and I'm going to move it over to the other side. So I ended up with now 9x squared. And then I'm going to rearrange it in such a way where I get x squared x, y squared y. So I'm going to rearrange it in a certain way. So I'm going to have 9x squared and I'll put 18x. I'm going to have 16y squared minus 64y, and that'll give us 71. Okay? So now let's complete the square. Notice that there's a 9 and 18 here. So we have to take out a 9 so that the coefficient of the x squared is a 1. So we're going to take out a 9. If we take out a 9, we're going to have x squared on the inside. We're going to have 2x, and we're going to leave a space so we can complete the square. Okay? Now, 16y squared minus 64y. They have a 16 common. We're going to take out 16, which ends up with y squared minus 4y. Leave a space, and that's going to give us 71. Okay? Now let's complete the square. So if you remember how to complete the square, the formula is b over 2 squared. And the b value here is 2. So we have 2 over 2 squared. 2 over 2 is 1. Square that is 1. So we add 1 to the space here. Now what you do to one side, you have to do to the other side of the equation. But notice that if you add 1, 1 is being multiplied by 9. So we have to add 9 to the other side of the equation. Same thing for this negative 4. If we go and complete the square, we'll get b over 2 squared. In this case, the b value is negative 4. So negative 4 over 2 squared. Negative 4 over 2 is negative 2. Square that is 4. So we add 4 into the space. But if you add 4 to the space, remember this 4 is being multiplied by 16. So you have to add 64 to the other side. 4 times 16 is 64. Okay? So now that we've done that, what is x squared plus 2x plus 1? What would that be in perfect square form? Well, that would just be x plus 1 squared. And remember, there's a 9 on the outside, so you have to include the 9 as well. And y squared minus 4y plus 4, what would that be? That would just give us y minus 2 squared. If you're not sure how to do that, you can always do the x method. 4 and negative 4. What two numbers when we multiply to give you 4 and add to give you negative 4? Negative 2 and negative 2. And you put y there. So y minus 2, that's how you get y minus 2 squared. But there's a 16 on the outside, so you have to include the 16 as well. And it's being added. And that is equal to, if you do the math here, you're going to get 144. Okay? So automatically right now, is it going to be a hyperbola? No, because there's a plus sign in between. Is it going to be a circle? No, because the coefficient 9 and 16 are different. They have different coefficients, meaning the a and b value, if you do divide, are going to be different. Therefore, it's not going to be a circle. Circle have the same coefficient. So we know we ended up with an ellipse. But for ellipse equation, remember, you always equal it to 1. So we have to get 144 to equal 1 on this side. So we have to divide it by 144. If you do it to that side, you have to do it to everything on the other side. So now you ended up with 1. And what is 9 over 144? Well, that's just 1 over 16. So you think of it as x plus 1 squared all over 16 plus 16 over 144. You could think of it as 1 over 9. So it's y minus 2 squared all over 9. So now we have our ellipse equation now in standard form. Now the question says you want to translate it 3 units right and 5 units up. So let's translate this. We're going to translate this 3 units right and 5 units up. So before we do, remember, you have to put this in its original form, which is x minus and y minus. Just remember on the side. I'll put it on the side. Remember, the equation is always x minus h, and I'll use a as the major axis under x. So plus y minus k squared over b squared, and that gives you 1. Remember, this is our original general equation. Notice we have an x minus, y minus. So we have to first change this to x minus and y minus. I can do that by changing this as to x minus a negative 1 squared all over 16 plus, this is already y minus, so we can think of it as y minus 2 squared all over 9, and that's going to give us 1. So now we have it in x minus form, y minus form. Now we can work with whatever's on the inside now. We want to translate this 3 units to the right. What we're going to do is we're going to take that x minus this negative 1, we want to add 3 to it. All over 16. So 3 units to the right of what we have. Plus y minus this 2, we want to take it 5 units up. So 2, take it 5 units up. Remember, going up is positive. Going right is positive. Over 9, and that's going to give us 1. Okay, now let's do the math on the inside. Negative 1 plus 3 will give you 2. So you ended up with x minus, this becomes 2 on the inside, minus 2 squared all over 16 plus 2 plus 5 is 7. So we have y minus 7 squared all over 9. And that's going to give you 1. Okay, and now we have our new equation translated. Okay, so if there's any questions, please let me know tomorrow in class, okay? All right, have a good day, everybody.